Coming up, a homegrown Ipswich business success story with an international flavour. How a passion for healthy dog treats led to a new enterprise employing prison inmates as bakers. The story has its beginnings in a home kitchen, then as a business startup at Fire Station 101. It's Thursday, March 31, 2022, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. One local business you may not have heard of until now is Golden Bone Bakery, a manufacturer of healthy doggy treats made right here in Ipswich. It started with an idea about 6 years ago. Now, to find out more, I'm joined by Golden Bone Bakery owner Katharina von Heusinger. Welcome to the show, Katharina.
Thank you so much, Alan, for having me.
First up, a quick disclosure. Katharina and I are volunteers and members of the Rotary Club of Ipswich City, and I've been wanting to highlight this story for some time because from where I sit, you and your partner Reiner have refused to say no to the many hurdles put in your way, and you've just never given up. Can we just rewind the clock a little? Let's start in Germany where you were born. Can you take us there in words, describe the area where you grew up and why the decision to move to Australia?
That's a great question. I never had before. I grew up in Munich, in the south of Germany. I think they're all American Australians now. It's by the city of the Oktoberfest. And yeah, that's where I grew up with my family. I have a bigger sister. And we just absolutely loved Munich. The city, the nature, the people.
The decision to move to Australia. So you've gone through all your education and you're looking for new horizons. Why Australia?
Well, because of Reiner, obviously. Just to take this away from the start, I always loved traveling. My parents, very fortunate, always made it possible for me to travel the world and to meet different cultures. I lived and worked in 3 different countries. I worked for a big pharmaceutical company before I went over to New Zealand to do a market research project for a dairy clinic, veterinarian clinic on the South Island. And on the way to New Zealand, I went via Singapore. And in Singapore, I stayed at a hostel where I met Reiner, who was also traveling after his 6 months travel through Europe. He's traveled back home. And that's where we met. It wasn't a first sight, how do you call it?
Love at first sight?
No, yeah, it wasn't at all. It was more like I think he thought that I'm a bit annoying because I'm always asking a lot of questions, and he called me the German police.
So you ended up in Australia. How long ago?
Since 2015.
Okay.
I decided to move.
And what was your first work when you got here?
I actually worked on a dairy farm. Okay. Because I came with my work and travel visa, and I needed to do 88 days on a agricultural farm to get my second year work and travel. And so I ended up in Harrisville at Paul Roderick's dairy farm. And I had to convince him to give me the job, and I'm glad he did.
I think we are glad you did too. From working on the dairy farm, where did the idea come up? Where was the seed of the idea to join what is a crowded marketplace for dog food and dog food treats?
Well, actually, when I grew up in Munich, I grew up with animals around me, and especially a dog called Amy. And we lived close to a healthy dog bakery, whose owner was a veterinarian nurse, and she created her own treats. And I never had any doubts that these treats wouldn't be good for my dog. And they weren't. So when I came into Australia and I met Reiner's dog, Jett, he could do a lot of tricks. So I gave him a lot of treats. But the more treats he received, the more flatulence he also suffered from.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't really believe it. And I looked into the treats and I saw how many sugars and preservatives, artificial colors and flavors were used to make these treats. And so it was no wonder that
it was a bit windy.
Yeah. So I said, we need to change this because I couldn't find anything like a healthy alternative. And I said, let's change it. Let's make our own. And there must be other fur baby parents out there who have the same problem and are looking for a healthy alternative. So I said, let's do it.
So you've identified that point of difference, and that's the quality, and your hallmark is no artificial ingredients. Talk us through one of the favourite treats you've come up with and what goes into them.
One of the favorite treats is the Happy Tummy treats. So where we're using pumpkin and prebiotic, as well as kale and oats, to have a high fiber, hypoallergenic treat, which is really sensitive on dogs' tummies. And we have this is our most popular treat because, as you can imagine, there are so many dogs that have sensitive tummies.
Your choice of place to manufacture is also a little bit out there. You manufacture inside Morellan Training and Correctional Centre at Ironbark here at Ipswich. That must have been a lot of red tape to go through to establish in the prison?
Well, it's a process to go through. They approached us back in 2017 and they asked the council for, does Ipswich have an aspiring small manufacturing company? So we were put forward, which I'm very grateful for.
Was that at a networking type event that happened?
I got help from the Fire Station 101.
Ah, right.
Which was the Entrepreneurs Club in Ipswich.
Yes.
So the council referred Work Restart, the social enterprise who creates those rehabilitation programs for inmates, to the Fire Station 101. And they then said that Katharina with Golden Baum Bakery could be a very suitable candidate.
And there you are, you're manufacturing. Now, setting up, we could think of a whole lot of issues that would happen inside a prison. How is it structured and how do you get on with the inmates?
They start with an interview process. So they make it as real work as possible. So they sit down with the inmates and they have to apply whoever's interested in a job. And then sometimes we go back in there and sit with them as well. And the only question I always ask is do you like dogs? To just see if they're passionate about it. And when they start talking, it's oh yeah, I miss my dogs and I miss my pets at home. You can just see it. If people have the passion for it, then they care. They care for the health and for the health and the longevity for their pets. And any skill really can be learned.
When you did the first batch, how much did you manufacture? Because you're coming from ground zero, as it were. And how did you scale up and where are you at now?
We started from home, right? Absolutely. And then we moved into commercial kitchens in Ipswich. The Ipswich Club was one of them, where we stayed for a couple of months. And we were manufacturing or we were baking like a kilo per hour. Right. There was already a lot. It was everything was hand-baked, and we had like 3 people working for us and the oven going for like 10 to 12 hours a day. And the Ipswich Club has now, in the kitchen, it has now air conditioning and in like 42 degrees in summer. We're now doing around like 100 to 120 kilos a day.
Wow, that's amazing. It's one thing to manufacture, Katharina, but then you've got to find places to sell them. So how are you marketing the product and where is it available?
So we have like Market Organics, the health shop chain in Brisbane, Gold Coast and Ipswich. They're great supporters because they have a really great, like their customers value high quality products. Yes. And they also want to know what's in their product, where does it come from. And we are very transparent with everything we do. with everything we put into the treats. People need to know what's in their treats because they need to know if there's any ingredients that's my dog allergic to. Then we sell with the RSPCA. We are also corporate sponsor with them. We donate 100 treats per month to their positive reinforcement dog training classes.
Fantastic.
And they have 2 big stores, and then we sell also via high-end pet shops in Sydney and Melbourne. And since last year, we're also exporting to South Korea.
What a fantastic achievement. In how many short years?
6 years.
And last October, you decided it's about time you had an official launch for the product to help expand distribution. You probably just told me how it's going. It sounds like it's going very well.
It is. He is very excited, and it doesn't feel like work to me because I'm so passionate about keeping our fur baby safe and healthy. And I just love doing it.
You've created a company with a real social conscience as well. You've just mentioned your support for the RSPCA. Are you supporting any other charities?
We do support Smart Pups that train puppies to become assistant dogs for children with special needs. And they send their puppies for 12 weeks into the prison, into the correctional training center in Borellum. And they came to us and like, do you have any training treats you don't need? And we said, of course. Like we have several our seconds, right? That are still amazing quality, but sometimes the shapes is not the right shape, or the color doesn't match our high quality standards. And then those seconds we then donate as training treats to Smart Pups.
It's always inspirational to hear such success stories from people like yourself. So Katharina von Heusinger, thank you so much for talking with Ipswich today.
Thank you so much.
And a quick reminder, you will find handy links in the show notes. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button on the homepage to make a payment through PayPal. Follow and stream this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts, or play Ipswich Today from smart speakers. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thank you for listening.